There is a sharp line between smart gamesmanship and the sheer panic of a team that knows it is finished. In the final at MetLife Stadium, what should have been the absolute pinnacle of world soccer ended up showing a powerhouse spiraling out of control. A single moment, a whisper in the referee's ear, and an absurd loophole showed the world just how far Lionel Messi and Argentina were willing to go to stop the inevitable. But the fallout from this moment ended up costing a price far heavier than any gold trophy. If you want to know what happened behind the scenes, raw and uncut, without the mainstream media spin, subscribe, and hit like. It is quick, and you will not miss a thing. What happened in the MetLife Stadium final exposed something far deeper than a simple trophy ceremony. Argentina felt the blow the very second they lost control of the game, and their emotional collapse started long before they reached extra time. It all kicked off with Enzo Fernández getting a red card in the second half for a reckless, unnecessary tackle on Pau Kubari. Down a man in a final of this massive scale, total panic took over Argentina. That was the exact moment Lionel Messi sparked an unbelievable scene. Right after the red card, Messi confronted Marc Cucurella, but instead of focusing on the ball, the Argentine captain went straight to the referee, demanding severe punishment for the Spanish defender. Look, they review everything nowadays. What they were reviewing, Cucurella had said something to Messi, covered his mouth, and that is what they were protesting. Messi was arguing that the move was completely obvious. For the 2026 World Cup, FIFA introduced a strict rule. If a player intentionally covers their mouth while talking to an opponent, they get a straight red card, something that had already got Miguel Almiron sent off in the previous round. Messi knew about that exact loophole and tried to force a red card for Cucurella by pressuring the ref, a desperate attempt to even up the numbers. The trick was so obvious that former English defender and ITV commentator Lee Dixon called it out live. The game is already lost. If you have to do that just to get someone sent off, you should not be so childish to try and get an opponent dismissed over something like that. It is ridiculous. And the logic is very simple. Watching an 8-time Ballon d'Or winner resort to such a cheap trick in the second half of a World Cup final says everything. That is not classic soccer gamesmanship. It is proof of a team realizing they could not beat Spain on the ball, tactically, or with pure talent. Spain did not take the bait. They kept their heads and just played. Then came extra time in the 106th minute, when Ferran Torres came off the bench to score the goal that secured Spain's second World Cup title. But while their 90-minute attitude was bad enough, the final whistle turned the pitch into a scene of absolute savagery. The referee's whistle did not actually end the match. It simply kicked off a massive brawl right in the center circle. Nahuel Molina, furious after losing, deliberately shoved Rodri, who had already been subbed off, and only came onto the pitch to celebrate with his teammates. The Spanish midfielder confronted him, and all hell broke loose. Molina lit the match and then quietly backed away. Leandro Paredes took things to a much more violent level, sprinting in to shove Eric Garcia. When the young Gabi tried to step in and break things up, he ended up getting knocked down by Paredes and Thiago Almada, who stormed the field from the bench just to join the fight. The worst moment of the brawl came when Paredes grabbed Gabi by the neck, trying to slam him to the ground. That disgraceful move earned the Boca Juniors midfielder a straight red card even though the match was already finished. New York, New Jersey, in the 2026 World Cup final. Spain won. Argentina, 0 to Spain. New. The brawl was only stopped because the rest of the Spanish squad kept their cool, and assistant coach Walter Samuel had to step in, physically dragging the Argentine players away. In the end, even manager Lionel Scaloni had to step onto the pitch to tell his players to stop arguing and go thank the fans in the stands. Yes, the second star is finally here. Yes, that second star is here. The dream has finally come true. Eternal thanks to these wonderful players, led by Luis de la Fuente with an absolute masterstroke of a hand. Right from the start, he knew he could bet on them, having coached them in the under-21 youth teams. He nurtured them in this style of beautiful soccer, good kids, great people, who treat the ball like a gift from heaven. Look at how Spain played against Argentina, the top scoring team in the entire tournament, who had scored 2-3 goals in every single game, yet they barely managed to get a shot on target tonight. Just one attempt from Giuliano Simeone that sailed over Unai Simon's crossbar, but nothing else. Not a single shot on target, even with Messi out there who didn't get a single sniff of the ball today. And honestly, Spain deserved to win long before extra time. On top of that, the refereeing was just so devious. It is crazy how Paredes finished the match. They let him escape a second yellow card 4 times. Enzo Fernández getting sent off was the absolute minimum. Spain kept the initiative, attacking, dictating the game. We dictated the game into extra time, scoring a beautiful goal through Nico Williams after a completely clean play by Mikel Merino. And then there was his usual routine of diving, faking, and lying, just pure theatrics. They disallowed the goal. VAR stepped in scandalously, just like they have been doing all tournament long. But thanks to Ferran Torres having the guts, he saved FIFA from being permanently stained by what would have been the most scandalous refereeing in World Cup final history. Deal with it. Sucks for you, Infantino. Your plan almost worked perfectly. It failed you at the last second because Nico Williams flicked on a wonderful pass from Pedro at the back post, a brilliant header from Nico Williams and his golden curls, allowing Ferran Torres to strike it with his soul. That kid is a total machine off the bench. I am so happy for Ferran, and so happy for Spain. Ferran is the heir to the legendary Iniesta, repeating exactly what happened 16 years ago in extra time in South Africa. Today it happened in New York, in Frank Sinatra's land, and Spain won its second star doing it my way. How wonderful. So many plazas across Spain right now are filled with young people hugging, all wearing the Spanish jersey, proud of the Spanish shirt, flags waving everywhere, from one end of the country to the other, because I have seen them in the Basque Country, Catalonia, and across all 17 autonomous communities. And far beyond the Pyrenees, the whole world was rooting for Spain today, minus the Argentinians, of course because they are the ones who actually tried to play. They are the team that plays beautiful soccer, with exemplary kids who know how to win and how to lose. By the way, I do not even remember the last time we lost 38 games undefeated in normal time. That is not a fluke. Honor and glory to these boys, to Luis de la Fuente, the master, and to these 26 players who put us on the Everest of soccer, on top of the world. Back with a second star that we will wear with absolute pride for. 4 years until the World Cup we will host with Portugal and Morocco, aiming to reach the final at the Bernabeu for a third star. Soccer is so beautiful. How beautiful Spain is. Long live Spain. Argentina actually went 90 minutes without a single shot, which is unprecedented in World Cup history. But late on, we saw that Argentina that always fights back. But on the other side was Spain, an exceptional, incredibly tight collective team. The Spanish coach, De La Fuente, won international titles and was an Olympic runner-up. He won the Euros and now the World Cup. This is the same group that took silver against Brazil at the Tokyo Olympics back in 2021. 8 players from that squad who lost that gold medal match are now on top of the world. Spain's silver was the result of a project we need to appreciate. At times, we need to show that same grit and some of the passion they have for wearing their country's jersey, just like we did during our own 5 World Cup victories. So we need to find that again, but we also need that sense of unity, where everyone knows exactly where their teammate will be when they get the ball, helping each other constantly like Spain. A completely deserved victory for Spain. What went down at MetLife Stadium was not just a defeat on the scoreboard, but a complete meltdown of their composure. Argentina lost the title and their heads, seeing the biggest star in world soccer exploit a loophole just to get an opponent sent off. Then, physical fights after the final whistle. It is completely indefensible. The game rewards whoever plays better. Spain showed ice-cold composure. They dominated, taking the trophy undisputed. Here is the real question. Do you believe the behavior of Messi and the Argentine squad was simply the reaction of a team failing to control their frustration after losing the final? Or did Argentina prove they just do not know how to lose? Let me know what you think in the comments. If you want straight-to-the-point analysis that does not protect anyone, subscribe and turn on notifications. See you in the next video.